let's start with serial killer realizes cops found his secret hideout from Crime Explorer.
911.
This should be interesting.
What's the emergency?
My friend just called and said she thinks she has to go to the hospital, and then the phone went dead. And I'm racing over there myself.
Who's all in the house?
Just her now.
Okay, is she okay?
She had ropes around her throat. And she's
Okay, just go and stand right here for me, okay?
What is that crazy guy's name that Justine was seeing?
Hi, this is Marie calling from Mountain View Emergency Room. I need to report an assault and like a kidnapping kind of a thing.
We need to know the story about what happened, what brought you here. We need to know information about him.
We don't know how much. I never knew it. And this is never how you were.
This is the story of three women, with one common detail: their boyfriend, Benjamin Foster. Each woman thought they were safe, and each one came terrifyingly close to dying.
You have shooters on this side. You got a shooter here. You need to get 3 guys here for front door.
Everybody go back further, please. Guys, you can get across the street, please.
There was no luck, no Ben.
On January 25th, 2023, at 7 p.m., Angie Milner realized her friend needed help.
911, what's the emergency?
My friend just called and said she thinks she has to go to the hospital, and then the phone went dead. And I'm racing over there myself.
And she's conscious.
Well, she was. She's not answering her phone.
What's her name?
Her name is Justine Seaman.
Angie Milner was speeding across town toward her friend's house. Her mom had just called her. Justine had phoned her, saying she needed to go to the hospital. As she pulled onto Justine's street, fear was already setting in. She was almost there, and she was praying she was wrong. She reached Justine's house before the police did.
Okay, let's see. Oh, here it is. I am pulling up. Hold on, I'm going to go to the door right now and see what's going on.
She rushed to the front door. It was locked. Her stomach dropped. Justine never locked her doors.
She never locked her doors? That's a very trusting person to never lock your doors, to just let anybody come in and out. Especially this day and age. I don't care how safe you think your neighborhood is. That's dumb. That's so dumb. Lock all of your doors. All of my doors and windows are locked and deadbolted and have cameras on them. I don't trust anybody. All right? I don't. And you shouldn't.
Justine, are you in here?
Do you hear anything in there?
I don't. Justine, are you in here?
Are you inside now?
I can't get in, no.
Angie ran around back. That's when she heard it. Justine screaming for help.
Justine!
Are you
Oh my God, she's screaming.
Justine was screaming and banging the walls. Angie tried to kick the back door open. It wouldn't budge.
So I'm gonna run around to the other side of the house and see if I can break in the front somewhere.
Panicking, Angie ran around the side of the house, looking for any way in. A window, a door, anything. Suddenly, the garage door started to open. Who's opening the garage door? None of it made sense. She bolted toward the garage, but before she could reach the door, a man stepped out. The man told her to go inside and get Justine while he got the car ready to take her to the hospital.
He says, why don't you go in there and get her and I'll get the car ready and we'll take her to the hospital.
Angie ran inside. The moment she crossed the doorway, she saw Justine. What she saw stopped her cold. It was horrific.
Justine, I'm right here, baby. I'm right here. We're here. There's blood everywhere. Oh God, hurry. Please hurry. I'm right here, honey.
First responders still hadn't arrived. Justine needed help immediately, and every second mattered.
So I'm putting pieces together, hopefully. So that woman that we saw in the bed with the shaved head that was crying, is this woman? They don't even look like the same person. What did this man do?
The crazy psycho guy has done this in Vegas before.
Do you know who he is?
I know who he is, though, and he's got a bad record for beating people.
The man
Oh.
Angie saw was Justine's boyfriend, Benjamin Foster. They had only been seeing each other for about 2 months. About a month earlier, Ben had come to Angie's house asking for clean urine so he could pass a drug test. Justine grew curious. People don't usually need help like that unless they're in trouble with the cops. She started searching online. What she found traced back to Las Vegas. The more Justine read, the more shocked she became. She felt obligated to tell her boss. Ben had a history involving violence against women. He was fired, and Ben knew exactly why. He knew Justine was the reason. But that wasn't the worst part. Justine learned about another woman. Her name was Jamie.
Ben came.
So wait, this is her boyfriend? And her boyfriend was like, I need clean pee. And she was like, I'm going to report you. What?
From a really good family. He was planning to get in law enforcement. He wasn't on drugs. He barely ever drank. On paper, it seemed like he was a solid person.
When Jamie met Ben, nothing felt off. He came from a good family, talked about joining law enforcement, didn't do drugs, rarely drank. All in all, a nice guy.
I'm sorry, but the minute that somebody says, I plan on joining law enforcement, I think you got a couple screws loose, bud. Honestly, I don't think that everything's connecting up here. And then a nice guy.
We were friends for probably around a month, and that's when it escalated a little bit further. But it was never an actual girlfriend-boyfriend relationship for a lot of the time that we were seeing each other.
Ben saw other women, and Jamie didn't push. They spent time together when it felt easy. Then, about a year in, things changed. Ben couldn't pay rent and moved in with her.
After I met Ben, he had a series of really unfortunate events. And one of them was losing his job. And then for a while, he couldn't pay rent. So then he ended up essentially moving in.
By then, they'd been seeing each other over a year. Jamie was just helping him out, but then his behavior started changing. One day, without warning, it happened. He came up behind her and slammed her to the ground. There was no argument, no buildup.
It was completely unexpected. We weren't arguing. I was so shocked. That was the first time he ever put his hands on me.
After that, Ben became paranoid. He said people were following him, that they were coming for him. His paranoia didn't stop. It grew, and Jamie was scared with it.
He started to say people were following him. He really thought people were trying to get him. And I'm getting scared. The paranoia didn't stop. It just escalated real fast.
I dated a guy who had schizoaffective disorder, and he wholeheartedly believed that he was being gang stalked. I don't know why, but he believed it, like, to the point that he would have, like, panic attacks. It was the strangest thing, and it was just this delusion that he carried with him until he died. It was very weird.
September 2019, Ben had been living with her for almost 3 years, and during that time, he had already attacked her multiple times. Each time was worse than the last. Nothing made sense to him anymore. Logic didn't exist.
By September, Ben had already attacked me quite a few times. I never knew what was going to happen next. And every time he would attack me, it would be worse the next time and worse the next time. Nothing logical made sense to him anymore.
After enduring violence for 3 years, Jamie decided she had had enough. It was time to get rid of him. She finally went to police for a restraining order. She specifically asked what would happen if he didn't answer the door. Cops told her they can only serve the order. She asked for an escort to get her belongings. They refused. When cops tried to serve the order, Ben didn't answer the door, and the order was left at the door. The officers left. Jamie sat outside for hours, terrified to go inside. But where else would she go? It's her house.
I was absolutely scared to go inside because I had just served him a restraining order. But I was so tired. I was so exhausted. I just didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where to go.
For weeks, Jamie was held captive in her own home.
Why did they not remove him if his name isn't on anything? And she would allow them to go in, I'm sure. Why would they not remove him? He's not a legal tenant. I mean, technically he does live there. I don't know. Does he get mail there? Had he get established residency? Because then it would take 30 days. I don't know.
She couldn't leave his sight. After 16 excruciating days, her credit cards were maxed out. They needed food. That was her opening. She told him there was nothing left to eat. Ben finally agreed to go to the store.
Eventually, my credit card was maxed so far that I couldn't order, any food, and we had no water. So we had to go to the grocery store. I'm thinking, this could be my chance.
He made her drive with a gun pointing at her at all times. When they reached the parking lot, he stepped out with the dog. Jamie unbuckled, jumped from the car, and ran for her life. She rushed into the crowded store, asked for a place to hide. The staff didn't help.
I didn't have my phone. I didn't have any money. So I run inside the store and I'm frantic and I see someone who works there and I explain the situation. I said, do you have an office or a room or somewhere I can lock myself into because I need to hide? She said, no, we don't have any office here.
She was all up. Her head was shaven. She had black eyes, busted lips, and ears, and she was running with all her might. Finally, a man noticed her. He was sitting in a car. The man asked if she was okay.
And there was a guy sitting in his car and he was like, are you okay? And he's just like, do you need a ride to the hospital? I was like, yes, take me to the hospital.
She told him yes, and he drove her to the hospital. Doctors treated her for 7 broken ribs, 2 black eyes, and cuts everywhere, cauliflower ears, and severe damage to both eyes.
Metro Police. Hi, this is Marie calling from Mountain View Emergency Room. I need to report an assault and like a kidnapping kind of a thing. She won't tell me the name of the person who assaulted her, but she kidnapped her, kept her in her house, tied her up. I guess he has her dog, her phones, her car, and her keys and stuff like that. Okay.
Police
Jesus.
came to the hospital, but Jamie didn't trust them anymore. The restraining order had failed her. If they had removed Ben before, she wouldn't be lying there.
We need to know the story about what happened, what brought you here. We need to know information about him. We're not the other officers that helped you out or that you dealt with before.
I don't know how much, I never knew it. And this never happened before.
The responding officer assured her she will be safe, but talking to the police didn't make her feel safer. It made her feel hunted. But she had no other option. She gave her statement anyway. That night, a SWAT officer drove her home. A judge approved a search warrant to arrest Ben. When she reached her place, she saw.
When we got to my place, I see ambulance, fire department, news team, helicopters, drones. They had already bombed the place.
Ben had barricaded himself inside the house and was not cooperating with the cops. He tried to resist arrest for several hours, and Jamie's house was all over the news. Ben came out. He finally surrendered to the cops, and for the first time in 3 years, Jamie could breathe. Amber saw Ben's face on the news. She couldn't believe it. This was the man she used to love, and now he was being accused of doing unimaginable things to the woman who came after her. But years earlier, back in 2015, Amber had lived her own version of it in Las Vegas.
I met Ben in the summer of 2012. We were both working at a day club at a Las Vegas strip hotel.
Amber truly believed Ben was the one. They dated for a little over 5 years, and Amber fell in love with him from the very start. Even though their relationship ended with Ben almost killing her, but the start was just like the movies.
Well, it always is, right? When you have abusers like this, it always starts out very idyllic. it's very cinematic. It's lots of flowers and coffee dates and I just want to be with you, and they don't want to leave your side. They don't want to do anything. It's very over the top, right? And you hear it all the time. They love bomb until they get you, and then they assert their dominance and control once they have you. And so this is exactly that. It's I love you, I love you, I love you. And then once they have all the control, they live with you, they have access to your bank account, something like that. All of a sudden, the tables turn and now they're violent, angry. Everything pisses them off. You're walking on eggshells in your own home. You're not safe. And they are escalating in their violent, paranoid behavior towards you. It's very textbook for abusers like this.
They met at work. Ben was a barback. Amber was a server. He was charming at first, smart, easy to talk to. What started casually slowly turned into a relationship. After about a year, they moved in together. Ben was a slightly reserved person, but with Amber, he could be incredibly sweet. Ben loved two things more than anything else: animals and weapons. It went beyond a hobby. It was obsession. He practiced with knives every day. Sometimes he'd pretend to slit Amber's throat, playing it off like a joke. Back then, it felt strange, but harmless. Looking back, not so much anymore.
He had this weird, practice knife that he used to mess around and pretend to, slit my throat.
By November 2014, they'd been together 2 years. One afternoon, a small argument went a bit out of control. Amber was pushing his buttons, and it enraged him. His energy felt wrong, but Amber didn't back off. He snapped. He suddenly shoved her down and slapped her hard. His eyes were empty, full of rage. The man she loved was gone. A stranger stood on top of her. It was then Amber realized she needed to get away. She called the police.
911 emergencies. Police, Steve. My ex-boyfriend attacked me.
What did he do?
Grabbed me by the throat, strangled me, slammed me on the ground. I have some scratches, big deep scratches on my hands that are bleeding.
What is his name?
His name is Benjamin Boxer. This is not the first time it has happened.
Ben was arrested again.
So, I just want to point this out, and I've pointed this out in every single domestic violence video that I've watched. Studies show that if somebody will strangle you during an attack like this, the likelihood that they will kill you skyrockets. And so if you're in a situation like this and somebody grabs your throat, leave. Run. Get away from them. Because the likelihood that they will escalate to the point of killing you is so much higher now that they've done that. So the minute that somebody grabs your throat during a domestic violence situation like this, you need to get out. For your own safety, you need to leave.
This time, the state pressed charges. But the case dragged on. Amber lived on edge, always watching her back, waiting for the other shoe to drop, afraid he would come back to finish what he started. In 2019, after Ben was arrested for what he did to Jamie, the charges were serious: kidnapping, strangulation, domestic violence. But Jamie couldn't face a trial. She couldn't sit in a courtroom across from him.
It wasn't just fear of testifying, it was having to sit in a room with him and having to feel that again.
Jamie didn't want to relive the horror in front of him. Without a willing victim to testify,
More than enough evidence. They had taken hundreds of pictures of me. I've given my statement. They saw what I looked like. Why do I have to go there and sit in front of him? So the DA cut him a deal.
prosecutors made a deal. They combined Amber's case with Jamie's 2019 case.
It's really upsetting when they can't just take victims at face value. I know that the accused needs due process, but some people just can't handle the stress of a trial after everything that they've been through. And the system isn't really set up to help victims that need that. It is set up for due process. But we need to have more considerations for victims. And we really don't. We don't have any caveats for them, unfortunately.
Ben pled guilty to lesser charges. He was sentenced to 30 months, with credit for time served. Ben Foster walked free in October 2021, just 2 years after torturing Jamie. When Amber learned he was out, the fear came rushing back. This wasn't random anymore. It was a pattern. That pattern led from Amber in 2015 to Jamie in 2019, and finally to Justine Siemens in 2023.
All I know is it's a 30-year-old female, believed to be conscious. She is screaming, "Help me."
Justine's friend Angie's 911 call came in just after 7 p.m., and officers were dispatched to the scene. Inside the house, Justine was found unconscious, badly beaten. When first responders stepped in, they weren't prepared for what they saw.
Hello? Who's all in the house?
Just her now.
Okay, is she okay?
She had ropes around her throat. And she's
Okay, just go and stand right here for me. Okay, what's her name?
Justine.
The injuries told the story immediately. Justine had been tortured, a 39-year-old woman, naked, her face severely beaten. She wasn't responding. She was rushed to the hospital clinging to life. From the start, police had a suspect, Benjamin Foster.
Is that crazy guy's name that Justine was saying? Benjamin what?
Okay, slow down a little.
Benjamin Obadiah Foster.
Are they boyfriend, girlfriend?
Yes.
Obadiah? Somebody's family is a bunch of fundies, right? That is such an old biblical name. Just like, if you ever hear like Zechariah, Jebediah, those are all like old Christian, like biblical names. So that's interesting. It kind of puts his cruelty into perspective. At least for me. That's very odd.
How long have they been dating?
Couple months.
What was he wearing tonight?
Well, he just has a little weird ponytail. I saw that. I know it's him because I just met him a few days ago.
Angie filled in the gaps quickly. Ben had been arrested before. Las Vegas. Assault on an ex-girlfriend.
He said the name was the name she gave me because they've looked him up. She has all the rap sheets out of Clark County. That was the one that I name scanned. Benjamin Foster. Good.
Detectives dug deeper and saw the pattern. Multiple incidents. Same behavior. This wasn't an anomaly. They had to find him fast.
AMR is getting ready to transport to the hospital. They're actually talking about intubation. She's got severe injuries to the face.
At the hospital, Justine was barely alive, comatose, brutalized. Doctors didn't know if she would survive. As that fight played out, a manhunt began across southern Oregon. Ben Foster was on the run. That's when Jamie got the call from Ben's brother. Out of nowhere, he told her Ben was on the run. He apologized for not believing her. He told her,
And one day I got a phone call out of the blue from Ben's brother, and I hadn't spoken to him in over a year. And he told me that Ben was on the run. He was crying. And he said, I'm sorry that I never believed anything he said. He told me,
I didn't want to believe any of it was true, but I know that you weren't lying now because he just did it to somebody else. And she's really bad. It's really bad.
Ben was still out there, and police were searching, and his brother was afraid he might come for Jamie.
He's out. He's on the run. I just wanted you to know to be careful because he might come down there, you know?
Investigators learned Ben had grown up in Grants Pass. His parents cooperated fully, trying to help bring it to an end.
When was the last time you saw Ben or talked to him?
8 o'clock last night. He came in.
Whirlwind.
A whirlwind, yeah. And just took out boatloads of clothing. And I'm going, well, are you moving in with Justine?
I'm not going to get into great detail, but Justine is in the hospital, and she is in really, really, really bad shape.
Oh my God.
You guys have contact with Benjamin. It is in his best interest to contact the police and turn himself in because everybody is looking for him right now.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't try to head back to Vegas.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, something snapped in him. I don't know what, but it really breaks our heart.
In Las Vegas, the news reached Amber. Amber watched the news from Las Vegas. The word manhunt stuck in her head. Could he come back? She hoped Nevada stayed far away from him. Her prayers came true. The very next day, a tip came in through. Ben Foster was nowhere near Las Vegas. He was spotted near Sunny Valley. Rural land, farms, thick forest. The kind of place someone could disappear. Surveillance teams moved in quietly. The house belonged to a woman named Tina Jones. Officers watched from a distance, using binoculars, waiting for any sign.
It appears that Tina's dogs alerted to the officers out in the forest. Ben Foster came out of the residence.
But Tina's dogs started barking. Ben stepped outside. He listened, watched, then started checking his surroundings. He climbed onto the roof with binoculars.
And begins doing counter surveillance.
Oh, no.
He climbed up on the roof of Tina's house with a set of binoculars. Then he came down and started doing ground property checks and ultimately spots one of the surveillance guys that are in the bushes and then takes off running.
Then he came down, walked the property, and spotted one of the officers hiding nearby.
You went right up through there.
Up that way?
Yeah, right across up through there. Straight to your left.
Track him through there. He's wearing blue jeans and a camo jacket.
Ben ran. Officers from multiple agencies gave chase. They saw him go down an embankment, and then he vanished.
Unfortunately, we lost visual contact with him. Our hearts just dropped because this dangerous man we felt had gotten away.
They lost him in the thick forest, and with it, he might have gotten away for good. Inside Tina's house, officers found a small travel backpack. Inside it, Ben's wallet, his ID, a large amount of cash, a ready-made escape kit. They also found multiple phones, every single one wrapped in tinfoil, a tablet, a laptop, cameras covered, electronics sealed off. It was paranoia on full display. A man convinced he was being tracked. Ben Foster was still out there, but he left behind loads of evidence and Tina Jones. Tina was a
What a fucking weirdo. He wrapped his phones in tinfoil and was like, I have to escape. What a fucking weirdo. This guy's having some kind of like break from reality or something. Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense.
family friend of Ben Foster, someone he trusted, someone who trusted him.
I'm not trying to make this inconvenient, but when you harbor a fugitive, I mean, we don't really have a choice. What that he was. Okay, we have reason to believe that you harbored him and helped him tamper with evidence.
Tina was interviewed at the jail. She admitted Ben showed up the night of the 24th, claiming he'd fought with his parents and needed a place to stay. They went to the same church. She let him in. She said she didn't know he was running from the police.
Mr. Foster, and we're concerned that he's still up there. Not in your house, but
He shouldn't be in the house because between Ren and Rick, they're up there taking care of my dogs.
Tina was worried about her dogs, so she gave officers the name of a neighbor she trusted, Richard Barron. Officers spoke with him. He agreed to care for the dogs and was told to call if anything felt off. A couple of days later, a tip finally broke through. A cab company reported a strange request from Sunny Valley.
Finally, you get a tip that someone had called for a taxi ride from the Sunny Valley area.
Richard Barron requested a cab. The driver knew Richard, and the caller doesn't sound like him. The driver knew about the manhunt and declined the ride. Then he called police. Minutes later, detectives were at Richard's house.
And per the cab driver, it was like, this guy did not sound old. So he declined. He knew about this manhunt for Ben and then called us. Shortly after that, I got a phone call from Detective Sergeant Hamilton saying that they were at Richard's house.
Inside, they found Richard and his caretaker, Ronald Griffith, murdered in the living room.
Oh, he killed 2 people? Oh my god, this is escalating so quickly. This man is scary. He's like really scary.
Investigators believed Ben had broken in and held them hostage. Both men had been brutally beaten. The whole house was doused in gasoline, and the cops found the wood stove was burning when they entered the house.
House had an overpowering odor of gasoline. Both the bodies were covered in wood pellets, and the wood pellet stove was on.
Detectives then found recent cab records of another company who picked someone up from Richard's house earlier. Detectives tracked down the driver.
Does that look like the guy you gave a ride to?
Didn't have the beard on, but he was a tall guy.
The stature matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
That driver said the man was dropped off in Grants Pass, near Justine's neighborhood. A neighbor near Justine's house reported seeing Ben. Detectives pulled surveillance footage from the area. The video showed Ben Foster walking a white dog just down the street from Justine's home.
Someone told you that our suspect was in the house on Shane Way? He said something too, like he was walking a dog at like 10 this morning.
A photo of the last time he was seen on video.
God.
Carhartt, tan colored jacket, jeans.
Tan Carhartt jacket, blue jeans, white dog with a blue vest. Clean shaven, shaved hair. Perfect.
Ben must be hiding at Justine's place. This time, they can't let him get away. The SWATs were called in. Officers locked the area down. Roads blocked.
Watch them call in the SWAT team and he's not even fucking there.
Houses surrounded. They weren't letting him disappear again.
Need to take the door. We need to open the garage. We need to start clearing with technology and with K9, and we need to knock out this house.
For hours, police made announcements. No response. Tear gas was deployed. Still nothing. Finally, the SWATs breached the house and made entry.
But there was no response. We believed at that point that Ben was actually inside the residence, so we had to go and obtain a search warrant to be able to gain access. When we had that, the search warrant made entry.
They searched every inch of the house. Ben wasn't inside. When all hope was lost, a last-ditch effort was made to search the perimeter of the house again.
They did all that and he wasn't even fucking there.
There was no luck. No Ben.
He's gotta be in there somewhere.
We checked all closets and didn't see him.
He's on foot in the area somewhere if he isn't in there.
Could he be in the crawl space the whole time? They found a small entry hatch to the crawl space. The K9 alerted immediately. Something was down there.
They started a secondary search outside the residence,
There's a K9 back there.
and they found an access area underneath the home.
They found Ben Foster hiding in the crawl space. To force him out, they deployed tear gas again. He could be armed, so cops can't enter the crawl space safely. So they deployed a robot with a camera.
Imagine you're hiding under a house. And then all of a sudden, your only air fills with smoke and it burns and stings. And you hear people screaming at you and you just lay there flat. Like, what?
I got movement. I got movement.
The dog indicated that there was something down there.
Guys, he's under the house looking through the vents.
Get back behind armor. Let's go nice and slow. We got him.
As soon as the robot went in, they saw Ben looking straight into the camera. The feed from the robot confirmed Ben was armed.
He's kneeled down. He's looking outside.
He starts moving all over the place, and he manages to stay still long enough to see that he's got a pistol in his hand.
Guys, watch the vents.
No.
Watch the vents.
Negotiators tried to speak through the robot's speaker. There was no response. Then came a single gunshot. Ben Foster took his own life.
As they got in closer, they were able to see that he had a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
He was taken to the hospital, where he died shortly after that.
And then when the dust settled, something no one expected finally happened. Justine woke up.
Wow. So he dies and then she wakes up. It's kind of weird, right? Like you see it in like movies and stuff. It's like he was holding her back, and the minute he was gone, she was awake again. I think that's crazy. But of course, he took his own life. Of course, because he was a coward. He was scared of himself and he was scared of everything until right at the very end. Also, something of note is that it, based on what they've said, is that he has shaved multiple girlfriends' heads now during like this ritual abuse, and it's kind of weird. It's almost like he's trying to strip them of their identity or humiliate them and bring them down just so he can feel more powerful, and I really don't like that.
She survived nearly 3 days of captivity, beatings that left her with traumatic brain damage. Ben Foster never faced a jury for what he did to Justine, or Amber, or Jamie. 3 women survived him, not because the system stopped him, but because they did.
It's always a coward like that takes the easy way out instead of wanting to face what he's done and the people he's hurt.
If this story stayed with you, that's the point. If you want to see more of such cases really unfold, subscribe, because the most dangerous part of stories like this is forgetting them.
That is insane. I hope that I never forget that, because those women deserve to be remembered in every way. But wow, what a giant piece of shit that dude was. What just horrific piece of shit. To hurt people like that and to think that you just have the ultimate, like, I can do whatever I want, fuck everybody else, basically. What a piece of shit.